Hey, it's Tuxedo Mark. Just turned 11:16 a.m. on Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. And this is my review of The Prisoner episode Once Upon a Time. Okay. Um, Before I get into the episode itself, uh, let's get, there's a bit of backstory. Let me bring up the spreadsheet. Okay, so this episode was actually a sixth episode produced. Uh, yeah, it was produced early in the series run. Now, apparently, from what I've read about this, I'm trying to piece it together, but apparently, when the studio asked McGowan to expand the series to 26 episodes. This episode was held back so it could be the season one finale. There would be 13 episodes in season one and 13 episodes in season two. This would be a season one finale. Um, Later on, when they renegotiated and brought it down to 17 episodes, the ending of this episode was refilmed, or they filmed a new ending or something like that. And it was going to be part one of the two-part series finale. So, this episode, in terms of being filmed, it was filmed directly after the Chimes of Big Ben. So, Leo McKern is back as number two. He says, "You brought me back here," so he's returning after his previous stint. So keep in mind, the only episodes that had actually been filmed up to this point are Arrival, Free for All, Checkmate, Dance of the Dead, and The Chimes of Big Ben. And this was the sixth one filmed. So, okay. At the beginning of this episode, number six is behaving more like he does early in the series. He's agitated. He's pacing back and forth in his apartment or in his house. He gets angry at another villager, and so anyway, number two is monitoring him, and he decides to call his superiors and ask for permission to use a technique called degree absolute. This is like the final way, his last possible resource to try to get the information out of number six for why he resigned. It's an all or nothing approach. Apparently, it's the last resort. So there's this weird sequence. He goes into a supervisory room and he talks to a supervisor who's the original supervisor, not the replacement one. When we saw that the supervisor got replaced, so apparently that replacement didn't stick. But anyway, he tells most everyone to leave, and I love that there's this girl, not the blonde girl in front, but the one behind her with like long brown hair, which doesn't look like a 60s hairstyle at all, I don't think, but she looks modern. But she if you look closely, she's got a smile on her face, like, yeah, I'm so happy to be out of here. Get to go home early. Woo! Anyway, so the supervisor follows some instructions while they're looking in on number six while he's sleeping, and I don't know exactly what's happening. There's a theory that number two has some kind of psi powers or psionic powers or something. But essentially, what happens? They put number 6 into like a trance or some kind of weird hypnotic state where he regresses to being a child. And number 2 goes and spends the night in number 6's house, and then wakes number 6 up, and they're going to go for walksies. And number 6 is all excited, and number 2 takes him to the Green Dome, to his residence or whatever, and they go all the way down into a secret subterranean room. It's called like the Embryo Room. It's basically just a giant black room, black walls, no real detail, but there's some toys like a rocking horse, a seesaw, there's a chalkboard, there's just a door, just a freestanding door. There's a cage with a living area inside and like a kitchen and a table and stuff. And they go down there with the butler also, that short guy. And they are locked in. They're like, it's like a set of steel doors that closes. And they're locked in, and there's a huge timer clock thing on the wall. They're locked in for 1 week. So number 2 has 1 week to try to break number 6 and find out why he resigned. And he's like, only one of us is going to leave alive or something like that. So, yeah. Number 2 starts interrogating number 6. Before the interrogation, they do a bunch of role playing where number 2 is always like in the supervisory position, whether it's being a teacher, to number 6 being the student, or number 2 being a prospective employer, to number 6 being a potential employee, stuff like that. And every so often, number 2 will ask, "Why did you resign?" But number 6 keeps resisting, and as the days go on, it's more and more. Number two eventually gets more and more frustrated, and when there's only 1 day left, he ramps it up, and there's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of quoting of nursery rhymes in this episode, like Humpty Dumpty and Pop Goes the Weasel, which they used the music for Pop Goes the Weasel in previous episodes, I remember. I'm not sure what it all means, so I'm not going to try to analyze this stuff. I did read some notes on 2 different sites just to try to get an idea of what's going on. They quote Shakespeare. They I don't know. But the point is, number 2 is trying his last final attempt to get the information from number 6 about why he resigned. And eventually number 6 just says that it was a matter of principle and morals or whatever, and which is basically the same thing that he said before. And eventually number 6 locks number 2 in the cage, and then the butler takes the key away. So I guess the butler, there's a theory that the butler might be programmed to obey whoever's in charge, and at the moment number 6 is in charge, because number 6, he counts down at one point, and he knows who he is, he regains his memories and everything. So he's he's now, turning the tables on number 2. Number 2 drinks some wine in the cell, and as as they count down the final minute, which actually takes around 2 minutes of screen time, number two eventually just dies, seemingly. So the door unlocks and the supervisor's there, and he's like, "Congratulations. We'll need the body for evidence." So they cut for number two's body is covered. Oh, and by the way, number two had mentioned that the cell with the living quarters inside it is mobile. It can be moved. So, anyway. So so the supervisor is like, "What do you wish?" And number six just says, "Number one." And the supervisor is like, "I'll take you." And then they leave the room along with the butler, and that's where it leaves off. And keep in mind that was only the 6th episode filmed. I mean, they probably, filmed that new ending later. As I said, I didn't know what the original ending was like, but yeah. So next we get to part 2 of the series finale. I guess number 6 is finally going to meet number 1, find out who's in charge of it all. Maybe. We'll see what happens. I don't think there's much else to say about this one. It was a very psychological episode. I was involving interrogation and techniques to break people down, and that's basically all that was. It was a battle of minds, I guess. There's probably a lot of references and deeper meanings and stuff like that in there, but the basic gist of it is that number 6 apparently beat number 2. Oh, and at one point, number 2's interviewing number 6 for a job as part of their role-playing thing. There's a common theory that the reason that number 6 is in the village is they want to test him to see if he's suitable to be in charge of it all, to be number 1. There's another theory that he is number 1 all along, and he's the one that's testing them. I don't see it personally, but what else? Yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm gonna watch the final episode now, and then I'll do a review of that. So yeah, it's 11:29 a.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.